What is going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me. This is 2 days in a row of Newbie Comics with my man Hyper. We were going to go solo, but I've got a special guest coming in. I hope everyone had a good weekend. The Americans, I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving, Black Friday, all that jazz. I hope you guys aren't still eating turkey because it's been a few days, but nevertheless, welcome. Thank you for joining. I've already mentioned one of my guests, so I'm going to bring him in. The man, the myth, the legend. No, it's not sleeveless in Seattle, Mr. Keys. It is Mr. Hyper from Quebec. What's going on, brother?
Man, that intro keeps killing me. It's like I always feel like you're gonna disappoint these people and you keep building me up, man.
Nah, man, come on. Another Mr. Information, but thank you again, 2 days in a row.
Yeah, man.
I guess
hopefully the viewers aren't sick of us.
Yeah, 2 days in a row, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I do have to bring in, one of the, I think, more popular YouTubers, a good guy in the community. He let me, he was my first show. I was on his show first in a Canadian panel. So, I always got love for him. Mr. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mr. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. It is Mr. Burke.
What is up, man? How's it going?
So this is the first time we've had Burke and Hyper together, so this should be fun.
Yes, sir.
Burke, life happens. Our schedules haven't clicked. Tonight they have clicked, so I appreciate you for joining, man. It's always nice to see you on. I see you got a Last Ronin there.
Yeah, that's one of. I got a couple of them.
That's not that previews Ashcan one, right? That's just the one that came out.
No, it's not. It's not. But I know a couple of people with them. I don't have one of those. Maybe I'll get one. You have one?
Yeah. I got two.
Congrats, man.
Well, I had 4, and I sold 2 on eBay weeks ago. And then I took the ad off because people were like, "Man, you should keep those." So I was like, "Okay, I'll keep them." So I'm just waiting.
How many Spider-Man free comic book days do you have?
I actually gave 3 away. I put it in a package because some guys bought some stuff on eBay from me. So I just kind of threw it in there for them. But I am down to 17.
17?
That's still quite a bit.
17. So, hey, you know what? But there are some guys that want to buy it. I mean, I was checking eBay and there are some sales. I just don't know if I will put it on there because by the time I ship it, by the time I buy the packaging and blah, 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 I mean, it's not worth it to me.
People still have hope for virus, so,
Yeah, sure. Sure.
There are people that still have that hope.
So today we are actually going to be talking about future characters that we might see in movies/shows. The genre is open. It's not just DC, Marvel, or indie. It's whatever. I think we have 3 different, what's the word I'm looking for? 3 different views because we all have different characters and things that we follow. So I think this would be really fun, interactive. If the chat's got some ideas or some characters that we might overlook, we're always looking in the chat. So feel free to give some of your information and your characters. But gentlemen, let us start. Who wants to go first? I am usually the host, so I let other people go first. Who wants to go first?
Listen, since I already spoke a lot last night, I say that we give Burke the chance to have the first.
Burke.
Okay. All right. I got a book here I want to show off of a pretty big character that's going to make his appearance in a TV show.
Ooh.
Very soon. Very soon. Now, this book is already expensive. I'm just going to show it. We got Batman 635.
Oh, okay.
For Jason Todd as the Red Hood. Jason Todd's going to become the Red Hood in season 3 of the Titans. We already got that first look at him. This book is already expensive. It's going to go up even more when he finally makes his first appearance. But DC, man. We got to start off with DC.
No, I agree with you. Actually, that is, I mean, I've always said if I have a DC character, it's Green Lantern, but that's just like a mess. Red Hood is probably, I wouldn't say a safe bet, but I think that he has a bigger future than most people give him credit for. I think, yeah, he'll start off in a show, and then we'll probably see him in a movie. But Burke, yeah, you're right. That book has been, I think, 300 Canadian for like 6-7 months now, like steady.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that Burke should mention that because I think that was actually one of my spec choices a few weeks ago on your show, the Red Hood.
Yeah, Red Hood is, I mean, I honestly don't. It's taken so long to get to this point, to be honest. Like you would think, just with the popularity and where the book's been, and all the, the things that were said, the spec and everything like that, like he would have shown up already. But yeah, that is a solid book to have. I don't know too many people, like the people who usually have that book have like 2 or 3 copies, to be honest with you.
I only have one, and it is signed by the artist Doug Mankey. I got it signed. Okay, so I got this in a lot of like 12 books. 638 is the other one that people want to get. That's when it's like shown that he is Jason Todd as Red Hood. And that's a book that's been spiking more, but this one is the one everyone wants to get. And like I said, it's signed by the artist Doug Mankey. So
man, I remember passing that up at Niagara Falls Comic Con, and that book was, I think at the time, was $120. And
that's
this,
not bad.
That's and this was in 2014.
Okay.
2015.
Well, newbie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no, because you froze a bit.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. No, I was also going to add to your point that just a few weeks ago, there was a claim sale that I completely missed out on with my local comic shop where they had the full storyline of Under the Red Hood for like $160.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, Canadian? but someone already claimed it before I could. Yeah, Canadian. That included that issue that Burke showed, as well as that issue where Batman is holding the Red Hood mask.
Yeah. 638.
Exactly. So it was like the whole set for $160, I believe. Yeah.
So I got sorry. I got 626 through 630, and then 635 through 640. The whole lot for $87 shipped.
Wow. What is this, eBay?
eBay, yeah. I was just on there, one day and just like put in a bid and I won it. I don't know.
It's funny with eBay because like you get stories like that, and then you get stories like, I just know Keys. Like he'll message me like sometimes in the middle of the night or something. I'll wake up the next morning. He's like, motherfucker, like I was on a bid, and like I made a bid and there was 2 seconds left and I got outbid. It's just fun, the spectrum of like stories that you get. You get like your really good ones, and then you get like you're about to kill somebody kind of thing. So
I got a Killing Joke raw, $33 shipped, first print, and I never got it pressed. I sent it in to CGC. It came back a 9.8.
You know what? That book is very hard to get a 9.8 because a lot of the times people end up usually getting a 9.6 on that prestige format book back in the day because when people read them, that crease comes in, all that. Getting a 9.8 for that Killing Joke first print is not an easy task.
I should have grabbed it. It's in the box back there, but
man, the thing with, and I mean, obviously this is, I mean, if there's newer people in the chat, I like to kind of help, but the issue with that book, the Red Hood one, you got to get it 9.6, 9.8. I just don't think that there's any legs.
I agree
with anything. You know what I mean? Like a 9.2, a 9.4. For whatever reason, I think 9.2. When I see it on slabs, I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad. But then when I see that 9.4, it is so unattractive. It is not sexy.
It's true. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, certain books you kind of will let it slide, but yeah, when you get more into those modern era books,
it's
you would think like going to grade school and all that, anything over 90, you got an A. So
yeah. I need to honestly, I should probably resubmit this to CGC because
which one?
Impressive because honestly, this bad boy should have been a 9.8.
You know what? You've had good luck with that because I don't think a lot of people know. I mean, if you guys don't follow Burke already, please make sure you do. But Burke, you actually had some success on a book I think you might bring up later, so it would be nice to touch on that. But you've had that success where Ultimate Fallout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you've had that success where you have bought a book, you cracked it open, you sent it off, and it came back better. So, sometimes cracking it and doing the work pays off.
It does help. It does help.
Yeah, and the thing is with CGC, it's very much. It can be really unpredictable in terms of how they grade things. Because I've seen my friends who show me their 9.8s, and you could easily spot at least 2 color breaking spine ticks in that slab. So sometimes it's a roll of the dice. I mean, you would think it's a 9.8 and it comes back a 9.6 and vice versa. So
my Avengers Annual 10 is a 9.2, and I got a steal on it. I paid $75 Canadian for it.
Wow.
But anybody I've shown says there's no way that should be a 9.2. And I'm like,
should have been an 8.5?
Should be lower or higher?
No, it should be higher. They say that it should be higher. So
there you go. Resubmit
depending on how good the character does, I don't think it's a matter of when Rogue shows up. I think I might have to crack it and send it open. Because I don't know. I mean, I got it for a steal already, so even if I resubmit it, it's probably going to be a $300 book. I'm just doing math on that.
Do you think is it pressable in terms of like getting those defects out?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I've asked like 2-3 shops already, and they're like, yeah, there's no way there should be a 9.2. So.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just if the grader is in a bad mood or something, you never know. You'll end up with these.
It happens.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's all human error,
My friend Carolina Chris 2.6, he submitted a God Country. Did you see that? He submitted a God Country #1 to be signed by Donnie Cates during their in-person signing. It was a blue label 9.8. He submitted it to be signed. Came back a 9.2. Oh my gosh, he was so mad. He did a video on him calling CGC upset about it. It was amazing.
I had a similar story. No, it's happened multiple times. There's another guy. I don't know if you guys know Roger Levesque, the cranky Canadian.
I know him.
I know him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I forgot what the original grade was, but it was at least a 9.2 or a 9.4 slab. He submitted to CGC, and on his YouTube channel, he showed that he ended up getting an 8.5.
Yikes.
So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. On books like that, like I don't know. I'm trying to collect, like, especially if it's modern, 9.6, 9.8. Obviously, you have to be super lucky to get a 9.8. You got to jump on it early. You have to be on that train, as they say. 9.6. I mean, I think you're kind of already taking a loss. Anything after that on a modern, I mean, I just don't think it's worth it, especially from an investment side and a flipping side. You're just.
Well, again, it also just depends how much you end up paying for that book in the first place. I mean, if you find a steal for a 9.6 and you could still make a profit off it, good on you. But yeah, it's really about how much you end up paying up front for that book.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Hyper, give us a book. Give us a character.
Okay, all right. So this is a character that I'm actually surprised has not appeared in, like, even before Fox was acquired by Disney, Mr. Sinister, Nathaniel Essex. I'm like, with all the other rogue galleries villains that the X-Men have faced in their 4, 5, 6 movies that they've been featured in, I'm surprised that he wasn't. I mean, I can see why, maybe because the character and the costume itself is very, not CG heavy, but it's not. It's very kind of makeup heavy and all that.
Almost. You know what I mean? Or not a flamingo, a peacock.
Just exactly.
Yeah.
The whole all white, and then with the jewel and all that, and that, that whole feathery costume. I can see how it might look a bit comical on the big screen, but then again, we also got Apocalypse, and we know how that turned out. But yeah, no, because the thing is, he translates well because unlike certain villains where they're just, grunting, brooding characters, he's a very charismatic, well-spoken villain, and those kind of characters resonate with people and, fans, because it kind of brings that whole cool factor to him. And if you kind of hear his backstory, he kind of is a gateway to other characters coming into, the X-Men universe, like the Marauders and all that. Like, because, if you're not too familiar with Mr. Sinister, he was basically a dude that was kind of doing experimentations during the Charles Darwin era, in the 1800s. And basically, he kind of had this whole idea of, the better human race kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And the whole case of the Marauders was him leading a group of people that would basically kidnap humans and basically do experiments on them to, for the greater good kind of thing. So that kind of storyline, I mean, we've seen it in other movies and all that, but I think it would translate well in the whole X-Men universe, especially because the Marauders are almost like, they're like the antithesis of the X-Men, whereas like the X-Men are like the mutants that are trying to find acceptance among the mutants, whereas the Marauders are more like the outcasts, and they're good with it, and they kind of embrace it. So it's almost like a yin and a yang thing. So I think the Marauders with Mr. Sinister leading them into the fold would actually be a good,
Yeah, I've always, and I think Burke has heard me say this. I don't know about you, Hyper. I am always going to pick, because I get a lot of, not hate, but I do get a lot of people, obviously because they collect this way. But I have a lot of people have issues when I say, don't get that Omega Red book, get that Mr. Sinister book. Why? Because realistically, I think Omega Red is a one and done. I don't think he's going to be around after maybe a movie, if not sharing the villain role. Where I think Mr. Sinister, you're going to get that Thanos-like. I think he's going to be the Thanos of that X-Men, where he's going to be around for a few movies and things like that. So, yeah, you're looking at the book and you're seeing it, okay, it's $250 for a 9.8. But, I mean, if he hits, if he shows up, he's going to be one of those badass villains and things like that. Again, that markability. I mean, look how they marketed Thanos and things like that. Apocalypse, even though it was shit. I mean, look at how much they sold Apocalypse stuff at Walmart and things like that. So I could see that. That all translates to dollars on the book.
Exactly. And the thing is also, between the two characters, Omega Red and Mr. Sinister, Omega Red, he doesn't seem like someone who'd be like the mastermind of a plan. He's more like the soldier, the mercenary kind of type. Yeah. And those kind of characters don't really have a longer shelf life, whereas Mr. Sinister, he kind of has that whole, evil genius kind of thing to him, and the guy that basically pulls the strings behind, the puppets and all that. So he's very much in that same tier. I'm not going to say he's in the same tier as, let's say, Thanos and those characters, but I could easily see him getting to that same echelon as maybe, let's say, a Magneto, or in that range.
Speaking of that Mr. Sinister book, I will be giving away, because I've been telling people to stack that book up. I have a giveaway coming up, and that's one of 3 books, one of 3 or one of 4 books that I'm giving away. So, yeah. I usually try to preach, if there's 2 X-Men books, I always try to preach with characters. It's Gambit and Mr. Sinister. Always, 100%. That's your go-to.
I can't wait for you to say your first character. It's either, in my opinion, it's either going to be Gambit or Ironheart. One of those 2. Go ahead, say it. Just do it.
Actually, I was gonna go like total left wing here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. To Burke, maybe it's left wing. Total, 180. To Hyper, I know it's not. And to some of the people in the chat, I know it's not. But I've been doing more research on teams. I've been reading, trying to get. I'm trying to see where my mind is going, where I think it's going to go in the MCU. Obviously, it's going to be a Marvel book I'm talking about. But I've been looking at some of these teams, and I really think Quasar. Quasar is very slept on. The book, the Hulk 234, is his first appearance as Quasar. It's gone down in price. I know because I bought it at a really high price, and it's gone down in price right now. But on the flip side, this is the perfect time to buy it if you are in love with the character, if you're in love with the theory. But you have to think. You look at all those new teams, that Guardians of the Galaxy and all that cosmic stuff. Well, who's in those teams? Adam Warlock, Quasar, Thor, the new Guardians of the Galaxy team, things like that. So it wouldn't be out of the realm to see him at some point. I don't know. With that cosmic stuff, man, like you can't be so certain, because like even I try to look at Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Like that book before the movies made it very popular. It was like a nothing book. You could find that, all day at cheap, and then the movie comes out, the popularity's there. I mean, it's still a $200 book and very high grade. So it just shows you the value. But Quasar, I think is coming. And Hyper, you've heard me say, with the way the comics are going and how they're allowing like different nationalities, right? Like we're seeing it with like Miss America, Riri Williams, Kamala Khan, Miss America, Shang-Chi. It's not out of the realm to see women maybe take the role. And I have been hearing a lot of rumors about that Standoff book with Avril, and I can never say her last name.
Kincaid.
Avril Kincaid, who is basically the female version of Quasar. So I think that we're going to get one of those versions, either Quasar or Avril.
It's funny you should mention that, because one of the guys who just entered the chat, Bricks, he actually picked up a copy, I think a few days after you mentioned that on your show. And I think he actually even got it for cover price.
If you got cover price, that's a steal.
Yeah. But I think he actually, he did mention that it's still out there. So, I know it's a bit of a tough book to find, but I'm pretty sure you could still find it. And like I don't think people have really gotten smart to that book yet in terms of value-wise or spec-wise. So I'm pretty sure you could still find it at cover. It's just a matter of actually finding a shop that actually has it.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's baby blue. On eBay, there are a few copies. I think they're going for like $25. But again, I believe in that character. Just don't fall into that trap of buying high, because that's what I did. And I'm kind of. I mean, I didn't buy too high, but at the same time, like for what they're going for right now, I'm taking a loss. So. For now,
I mean, you kind of have to. For certain books, you almost have to play the long game, I find.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that was total left wing for me.
Yeah. You never would have thought that. You never.
Like I said, I thought you were going to say Gambit or Ironheart.
Yeah. All right, Bert, give us the character. Sorry, give us the character.
Okay, so I have a ton of books over here, but I got to go with the book that you just talked about. I have to do it. Ultimate Fallout 4. This book,
safe pick, nice pick.
I got it for $135 off of the Mercari app, shipped, $135 shipped at a 9.4, and I got it cracked and pressed by my presser, comic_press on Instagram. Resubmitted it to CGC, came back in 9.6.
How far back was this purchase, though?
Oh man, let me look. It's over a year ago.
Okay, no, I was just curious if it was like a recent purchase or not.
Oh no. I bought it like a year and a half ago.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I got it for $135 shipped, just because I really like Miles Morales, and I think he's the future of the Spider-Man franchise. Like 9.8s, I mean, it went up to around $1,000, $1,200 US a couple months ago, and that's settled right around $950 to $1,000. But if he ever gets into the MCU, I mean, that book's going to be $2,000 at a 9.8 easily.
Here is my one not issue with the book, because I agree with you.
I know what you're going to say. I know what your argument is going to be, but let's hear it.
This is mostly for those people that might buy super hard. I get why people are going heavy on this book. One, I mean, I agree with you, Bert, the character showing up. I think a lot of people are just having that image in their head of like Amazing Fantasy 15, where I think it's going to get to those levels, but with the second print, with the third print, with the number of copies that book has, I just don't think like people like I've had a few people over the summer be like, oh man, it's gonna be like $100,000 book one day.
Ooh. Okay,
so year 7,000? Like I don't.
Yeah, I take exception to that also, because you have to think about the times that we're in versus back when AF-15 came out. Like back when AF-15 came out, the collecting market isn't as is as it is today, where people are a lot more condition sensitive. People, bagging and boarding wasn't really much of a thing.
No.
Not even, it wasn't a thing at all back then. So finding anything, even at a 4.0, like forget 4.0, even like a 1.0 AF-15, like what is it going for, like 20-30 grand, I would think.
Yeah.
So it's a different time, and like you mentioned, the print round was smaller, whereas nowadays everyone is pretty much, for the most part, is taking care of their books. So getting a high grade isn't exactly a novelty. Actually, you should be getting a high grade if you're buying a modern book. It's almost like, I would say it's like a prerequisite that you would want to get a 9.8. Otherwise, it's almost like a failure for certain books.
And you see it because there's guys that, like, I didn't see it as much years ago, but now you go to a comic book store, new comic book day. This is everybody.
Yeah. Listen, I'm one of those guys. I'll admit it.
You know what I mean? Like, but you have to, because you have to get it in 9.6 or 9.8. If you end up with a 9.4, it's a loss. Like, regardless of going in your PC, if you're going on your wall, or if it's an investment, it's a loss right off the bat.
Like, whenever,
Right?
Sorry, go ahead, Burke.
I'm just saying it is. I agree. At a 9.8, though, I mean, there's 74,000 printed first prints.
Yes, like that.
But only 2,400 are 9.8s on the CGC census. That's pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about double that if you include 9.6 and 9.8s. But still, I mean, that's not a lot. And it is a tough book to get in a 9.8. Mark
polybag
said it's super hard book to get in high grade. It is, like, because it came in that poly bag.
Exactly.
Where there's that bend in the middle, and it didn't come with a bag and board with it. You know what I mean? So it is really hard to get in a 9.8 for sure. I just think that the character is too relatable in the 21st century to not be a book that you should try to get, even if it's just a raw copy. Because if he does get his own movies outside of Into the Spider-Verse is the greatest Spider-Man movie ever created. Like, if he gets into the MCU, though, like I said, a 9.8, I think it's $2,000, $3,000 book all day.
I think this will be the first time. I'm just trying it, like, quickly. I've had a long day of work, so and maybe the chat can correct me, but I think if we see him in a 5 to 8 year span, we'll be able to kind of see firsthand where that book compares to where the market will be with Amazing Fantasy 15 and that one, right? Because if he does show up, obviously the book is going to rise again, obviously. But I'm interested to see after that. I'm interested to see where it kind of just maintains, if it dips, if it stays, because because of the amount of copies that there are, right? Amazing Fantasy 15, obviously, it's one of those that, I mean, it might be 100,000 right now, but it's going to be 200,000 in like 2 years. It's just the popularity of the character. Spider-Man is number one. Sorry DC, sorry indie people, but Spider-Man is number one. You know what I mean?
It is right now.
It's one of those blue chip books. Sorry.
Yeah. It is.
So it's just going to be interesting to see, because this will be the first time, and I think that'll also change the game too, because you have the original character. And now you have, like, the guy that will be, like, the future. What does that do for both books, right? You don't see it in Batman, because Batman is, like, it's just been carried on. Superman, it's just been carried on. Like, it's not like it's a different character taking the mantle or a different ethnicity, things like that. So I'm very
except for Batman, you kind of, they're teasing the whole, Luke, what's his name, Lucas Fox or something, one of the Fox guys.
Future State Batman, yeah,
exactly. So they are kind of hinting at, like, different versions of Batman.
They should have went with Duke Thomas, man. They should have went with Duke Thomas, in my opinion, there.
Yeah. See, that's a book that I'm surprised. I mean, it's still pretty undervalued, I find.
I agree.
The Signal, yeah.
Coco saying, Burke, you are absolutely correct.
I told you how many months ago to get it.
100%. Burke would actually message me, like, postings on eBay and be like, jump on this, get on this.
I did.
The thing is,
that and ASN 361. I said you should get that too.
And I took your advice and I bought it.
And it did go up.
Yeah, I would say I've already made on that book maybe $175 just from holding on to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's funny because both books I got at the same convention, $60 for each copy, and this was last year.
Wow.
And the thing is, the guy that was selling me the Ultimate Fallout 4, he was like trying to sell me the 9.8. At that time, it was like 500, and he was like, "Yo, man, this book is gonna be hot. The 9.8 is what you should be going for." And I'm thinking he's a salesman. This is what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be pushing me these books. Little did I know that ended up becoming like almost triple the value now.
Yeah. I mean, he was trying to sell you the book for sure, but
there was some truth to what he was saying.
Coco, I put this comment up, man. I really appreciate that because that's I hope nobody ever thinks that we're pushing anything, and yeah, we're just ourselves here. I can preach for Burke since I met him. This is how he is. If you check his shows out, this is how he is. Hyper's like this, and people who know me, I mean, this is just how I am. So I appreciate that, man. Really do.
And the thing is, just speaking for myself regarding that comment, listen, I don't think I should be giving too many spec advices because I've had spec books that have burned on me. So trust me, the angle that I'm going on is never about spec. It's just about enjoying the books that you want to collect.
Yeah.
Because if it's all about specs, then I kind of find it sours the hobby. Spec is fun. Spec is fun, but
spec is fun. But you're right. That's collect what you love. That's why I got so many Power Rangers books.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say that. I always say, like if you're new to the community and things like that, don't just go and pick up every book that people are specking on because you're just going to end up with misses and you're going to end up with books that you don't like. Like, it's just I'd rather look at my shelf and be like, or my wall and be like, you know what? I'm proud of those books. Those are the books I have.
That's the thing, man.
Right?
Like, look, I don't have a My Little Ponies Transformers book, and I'm cool with that. But I know a lot of people do, and a lot of people spec hard on the book. For me, it doesn't really fit into my collection. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I want to go back to a comment that was made by Joel. He was saying, how much do you think the casting for the live action Miles will impact it? Here's the thing. Obviously, it's going to be Marvel, but how many of you, myself included, like with the Tom Holland before Spider-Man, like we didn't know about it and now we love him. I think that they could go either way. It's just you have to look at the character, right? You're looking at a half Latino, half black character, young. So it's obviously, you're not going to get Denzel Washington playing him or Jamie Foxx or things like that. So we're probably going to see a new character. They usually do good on picking these younger actors to play the roles. I would say.
And also, you have to think about it from a payroll perspective on Disney's point of view. They want to make people a household name from scratch so they don't have to pay them from the jump. Because usually some of these actors, they're tied into these 10-year contracts and all that, right? If you get like an A-list Hollywood star, like a Robert Downey Jr., like you saw what happened with him in Avengers. He was tied to that. He was like the highest paid actor for, the majority of that movie. And I think that caused a bit of contention and all that, right? So I think going forward, Disney would much rather have homegrown talent that they would groom and basically become a household name that they've already locked in for those long-term deals.
As he should. All right, moving on to another character because I think it is on my turn here.
It's Hyper's turn.
Oh, Hyper? Okay, go ahead.
I don't mind if you take my.
Oh no, go ahead. I thought we were going clockwise, but I remember Burke went, then you, then me. So yeah.
All right. Listen, this is a character that it's in memory of Keys, the sleeveless wonder. I'm picking Spawn. Figure. Let's go indie. This has been a character that people have been talking about. You've been hearing news about like a movie coming out, and it keeps getting halted. Todd McFarlane keeps pushing it, but we never seem to get a lot of new development. I think where there's smoke, there's fire for this character, because especially now that we are seeing a resurgence in the Spawn character after issue 300 and all that, and there's been a lot of fervor and a lot of people that have jumped off of Spawn, including I never was a Spawn collector myself, but I've even started pulling some of the books, just based on the covers and all that, and it is also a callback to my childhood, the 90s, because Spawn was back in the early 90s. Yeah. So, I think that Spawn is. I'm not gonna say he's coming in the very very near future, but I feel that he would be a character that will be making another theatrical re-debut, because I'm pretty sure that people are still trying to wash that taste off of the first movie that came out. in 1997. I remember because I actually saw that in theaters.
Yeah. I don't know if people are gonna like what I've said. I don't think I've ever said it, to be honest. I don't even think Keys knows this. And I don't, this is just an opinion, but I don't think we will see that character in a movie. And I'm not wishing this on anybody, but life, circle of life. I just don't think we'll see it until Todd McFarlane has passed away. You know what I mean? Like I think it's something that the family might have to sell the rights and things like that later on, and then we'll see it. I don't think we'll see it any sooner. I hope I'm wrong, because like you, I've had a bad taste in my mouth since watching that.
I mean, well, to correct it, it's not okay. Put it this way: the movie, it's relegated to that guilty popcorn flick. So I can't say I completely hate it. I almost like it for the wrong reasons, like the same reason why I like Batman and Robin. It's like one of those movies where it's so bad it's kind of good, kind of thing. But that probably isn't what they were going for when they made that movie, I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think, in my opinion, it's going to be one of those, like, we see it after because the family will sell it. The family will get more money afterwards.
But you think that McFarlane is too protective right now with the character?
Yeah, because he won't do. Look at how many people are dying for like a Funko Pop and things like that. And
That's true.
And won't do it.
And he's very, and I know that he's very resistant on doing those store exclusives with Spawn. You don't see a lot of exclusives with any of those pinnacle issues with Spawn. I mean, I kind of, in one sense, I do respect McFarlane, because I think he kind of doesn't want his property bastardized, where it's like, to the point where it's overexposed.
Afterwards, man. That's why I think it will come after his passing, where the family will just be like, all right, like, we have to pass this down. Let's see where it goes. Because somebody will come along and offer them like tons of money and be like, hey, we'll do it. Boom. So.
Well, the thing is, and also, I mean, and I'm sure he probably saw his other creation, Venom. Well, he co-created that, but you saw like how, listen, I'm a big Venom fan, and I'm getting a bit tired with all these exclusives and variants that I keep seeing popping up everywhere. It's almost like I'm getting Venom fatigue at this point. So I can understand why he may want to not overexpose the character too much to the point where it gets, you kind of get sick of him. But yeah, maybe he might want to loosen the reins just a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I just hope that wherever YouTube is in like 30 years, I get some of you guys being like, "Oh, newbie, you were right," and I'll just be in like a retirement home by then, be like, "What? What?
Yeah. But you know what? But here's the thing. Regardless of that, I would still say for people, because I just recently picked it up for the first time, believe it or not, Spawn 1 and 2 in my collection. I would still say grab those, because they're
barcode or no?
Barcode for sure if you could find it. But I mean, barcodes are obviously, like, the newsstand is obviously more expensive, but it's even the director's edition. I still find it's definitely undervalued, even though it is a very highly printed book. 1 and 2, because the Clown Violator appears in number 2. So I would say grab those and put them in your PC. Just you never know. And it's a cheap buy-in for a popular character's first appearance.
Yeah, absolutely. Another character that I'm going to throw left field here, left wing, whatever we're calling it. Obviously, there is a lot of hype around a book that is ridiculous in price. It's already at $1,000. I've got a tough time when modern books hit $1,000. It's just I don't know. It's not. I get frustrated because I'm like, I could have had those. I'm talking about Miss America. Obviously, there was that. What kicked it off was that somebody had found a script that this woman had said her lines or whatever, and that's kind
casting call.
Yeah, that casting call. So a lot of people are expecting that she will show up in Doctor Strange, the multi-universe, things like that. When these characters are not announced, but they're like rumored, I always look for kind of who their enemies are. You know what I mean? Because if they do hit, obviously they have to go into their own world, things like that. For Miss America, you have Black Knight. Black Knight is somebody that they were saying is going to show up.
Eternals.
Eternals and things like that. So you got that angle. You have the Celestial Destroyer. Falcon is one of them. So it just kind of opens up. Thanos is one of them. So it kind of opens up that portal of like, okay, we have some of these characters that are already established, some characters that have, in Thanos that have passed, but they've already said that Thanos is going to be around. So I just kind of start thinking, okay, are they going to go prequel, this, like that? So yeah, I think this character has some leg to it, and I wouldn't be surprised if you saw those other characters, those villains. So
I don't know anything about Miss America. I know nothing.
It's too new. Yeah, I don't have like all
that Vengeance. That Vengeance one is probably going for what? Like for 9.8, I think it's what?
$1,000.
It's 1,000.
1,500 Canadian.
Yeah, damn, that's insane.
And the cover is like Magneto. It just says,
that's the thing.
It's like white Magneto on it. It's like Vengeance, and it's like
the thing is, if you actually look at the series, it's actually a pretty dope set because I think it was Gabriel Dell'Otto that did the whole series. It's he did a villain for each cover, so it's a pretty cool set to have. But yeah, that first book is really going to cost you.
All right, Mr. Burke, give us another character you see in your future.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go Marvel again.
Well, this is a shock.
Right? This is crazy.
I didn't think we were going to get Marvel out of you today.
And Hyper said he has some Venom fatigue. And I don't get it.
I think I know where this is heading.
But I think this is the next Thanos. And not just comic books, movies, especially with the way things are going to the Spider-Verse and Venom going together. Venom 3, man. Noel. This character, I think there's a good chance, in my opinion, depending on how King of Black goes, he could end up in Venom 3.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to have to... Okay. I normally don't... I normally try to find like something to agree on, but I'm going to have to kind of completely disagree with you on this point.
On what? Yeah. Venom 3 or just him showing up?
No, showing up very soon.
You don't think he's going to show up anytime soon?
No, but okay. I'll let you say your piece just because I've had this discussion with someone before recently. That's why.
Too soon.
Too soon. Everyone's saying too soon. That's fine. That's fine.
Venom 3. Okay, so let's. Okay, so Venom 2 was slated to come out October this year. Obviously,
Venom 2 is going to have Carnage in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We already knew in Venom 1, the movie, that the symbiotes come from this other planet.
Yeah.
Quintar, yeah.
Other one is trying to get him to go back and all that stuff and whatnot. I think that planet is ruled by Noel, and he's going to come to Earth in Venom 3. And I think he's going to dominate Venom and then possibly be the next Thanos. We'll see. It's a big spec.
It's
definitely a big spec.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, man, is that you can say stuff like this. Nobody
for sure.
For how they, right?
Yeah, I got ASM 361 too.
Oh shit. Yeah, I got my 9.6 upstairs. I just don't want to wake up the girlfriend. So
yeah, mine's just a raw copy, so I don't know what grade that'll be. But no, but okay, look, just to go on Burke's pick. The thing is, my only concern with Null is he's not a well fleshed out character yet. I mean, I know that he has his King in Black series that's debuting, tomorrow as we speak. But the thing is, with the amount of characters that Marvel can pull from, I don't see why they would pull a character that just came out in 2018. I feel that there's a lot of things they'd want to probably add to the character before he's brought to the cinematic universe. And also, right now, Venom has been very much a street level movie per se. So to go from that to a very cosmic entity kind of film, it's a big jump. I mean, obviously, we'll see where Venom 2 goes, like what bridge that sets up. But I just find that in my opinion, I think it's gonna be at least the earliest we would see Null is probably at least 6-7 years. The earliest. Just because I kind of find that there's other things that they want to tread before they get to that point where Null is introduced.
I think if we were to see Null, it would be in like an independent film. Like it wouldn't have anything to match. Like it
Really?
wouldn't. Yeah, like
a Joker, like the Joker movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the Joker, just like one of those to kind of build the character up, and then something like that. Yeah, I just think it would be too soon. I think me personally, I think me and Hyper, we were actually talking about this last night, because somebody had said, where do we see Punchline? And I think, Hyper, you had kind of said the same stuff, right? Like,
a long ways away.
Yes, it's got popularity right now, but it's just way too soon kind of thing.
It is.
Yeah,
but I agree. I can see Null in a few years being that badass Thanos, especially with the popularity that the Venom has, Carnage. It just depends. Like at that point, I would have to think that Venom would be at almost like a Venom 4, Venom 5 before he came in, and I don't think that they're going to have 4 movies for Venom.
Well, they could always. I mean,
there could be crossovers.
The Venom 3 movie, they could always recast him if they do. If the MCU does get Venom, then they could always recast, Eddie, and then they can bring in Null. Because I think. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a super old character or book for them to make its debut. Like, how long ago did Guardians of the Galaxy come out? It was like 10 years ago. And their first movie was like 4 or 5 years ago. So, I mean, it can happen. And like Godspeed made his entrance in 2016 in comic books, and he made his appearance in The Flash in 2019. So it only took 3 years.
Yeah. But you're talking. But see, the thing is, I find that Marvel's way of doing films is a bit more different than DC, and also the difference is Marvel doesn't have the same TV show vehicle like the CW network like DC does. Where Marvel, it's mostly the cinematic. They do have like certain shows on Hulu and whatnot, but I find that because their movies are only released, once every 2 years for certain franchises, they kind of have to really be much more picky on which characters they pick into their franchises. Whereas because DC has the CW network and they had a whole catalog of shows, they had that liberty of kind of introducing it's almost like they actually had to introduce new characters to keep those shows fresh.
Yeah.
True.
And I also think just with how popular Null is and how badass he is, they could also just be waiting for that to perfect it kind of thing. Like put it in your back pocket. Like, why put it out now when you have X-Men, Fantastic Four, you have your Carnage coming out, new Spider-Man, possibly Sinister Six, right? So it's kind of one of those things that they're like, hey, you know what? We could probably put this in our back pocket.
And actually, I want to bring up a point that Azores mentioned, how I think if they were to bring up Null, it would almost be in the same vein as Thanos, where they would first tease him at first before actually bringing him, full out, because he's one of those characters you kind of want to do a slow burn with.
Yeah.
Sure.
I agree with you. All right, Hyper, give us a character for the future.
Okay. This is I'm gonna go Marvel now, and I'm picking. So we know that all the Netflix Marvel series got canceled, and I was thinking, okay, of the 4, I think it was 4 shows, which character is most likely to end up in the MCU? And in my opinion, it's Daredevil. There's already kind of rumors or talks that he might appear in Spider-Man 3, and almost like his entry point would be, I mean, I hope people have watched the latest movie that came out, Far From Home, because I'm going to spoil it a bit. We know that in the end credits of Far From Home, what's his name? Mysterio basically reveals that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, right? So it's almost like now his identity is on blast to the entire city of New York. And a lot of people are specking and thinking that possibly that we might get an issue where Spider-Man might be put on trial of some sort, and that Daredevil might possibly come in as his attorney so to
I've
speak.
heard that rumor. Yeah, I've heard that rumor.
So I mean, that is one possible theory, but I just feel that the character itself just, I mean, you can't keep him off for too long because we saw how popular he got with the Netflix series, and Charlie Cox is the actor that I think they should bring in. I don't think they should recast the character. He was perfect for that role when the show came out for the 3 seasons that it was on Netflix. And that book itself, for a Silver Age book, I still find it's a pretty undervalued book when you think about the other Silver Age first appearances that it lines up with. I think I haven't really looked at the values that much, but I think a mid grade should at least be, it's still I think 4 or 5 grand, which is still a lot. But I mean, when you're thinking Silver Age, it's not. I still think it's an undervalued book. Yeah, that's true. Or She-Hulk could also be an attorney. But the thing is with She-Hulk, I think she's already getting her own show, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with the Charlie Cox thing too. Like I really think that he should be the character. Same with the Punisher. I really like the Punisher.
John Bernthal.
This might shock a lot of people. I like the guy that played the Flash. I've expressed my
Ezra Miller?
dislike for Ezra Miller. I just when I'm watching him on the big screen in those Justice League movies, I don't see a Flash. Like I don't like my
Ezra
mind.
Miller is not the Flash. No.
Right?
Grant Gustin is a great Flash.
Yeah, and I didn't mind him. I thought he had control, and like when you looked at him, you were like, yeah, this could be Flash, right? When I see Ezra Miller, I'm like, what is this? Like I just can't take the character too serious. So yeah.
I know this isn't the first time you ragged on Ezra.
Yeah,
it's almost like you and her.
Be careful because I know that's Burke's guy. Burke is Flash.
I love the Flash, but I do not like Ezra Miller as a Flash.
Yeah,
he's terrible. And honestly, Barry's not even my favorite Flash. Wally West.
Okay.
So, let's hear yours, newbie. Who's your character?
All right. So my next character is actually Burke's character. When people are like, why do you think that? I always refer back to them with the end of Black Panther. And I always tell people, I'm like, why don't you go and watch that end credit? Go and watch what happens. Go watch what the dialogue is in that movie. Long story short, that end scene is T'Challa goes back to that building where the movie actually starts off, in those apartment buildings where T'Challa's father kills Killmonger's father, which is his brother, in the apartments. And then T'Challa, throughout the movie finds out what happened, goes back at the end and says, he buys that building. There's a few girls playing basketball. The ball goes to T'Challa and Shuri, and Shuri goes, what are you going to do here? And he goes, I'm going to be building a school for, I think it's young girls or young children in general. It's going to be a technology school.
Yeah, I think it was children. I don't think it was just girls.
Yeah, it wasn't women, but it was children. So right off the bat, I start thinking, okay, technology school in the U.S. I start looking at the characters that that Marvel just signed for extension. You have War Machine. You have Gwyneth Paltrow. You have all these characters that are kind of connected to the Tony Stark. They've already come out and said that Tony Stark is going to be around. The way society is going with the female leads and things like that, I don't think it's out of the realm. I can definitely see it. That book, if you're looking for a book, I would probably stay away from number 7 and probably pick up number 9.
Number 7 is a cameo, right?
Cameo, yeah. And on the same day, that third print came out, so a lot of people were a little confused with which book was the actual first cover, because there are people that take that first cover appearance, but I would probably put all my money on number 9 over number 7.
Yeah, I have a copy of number 7. I don't have number 9 though. So
I used to have 2 copies of number 7, and I have no idea where one of them went, and I know that I sold one. Number 9, I only have 1 copy.
I'm surprised, you being the Iron Man fan, I thought you would have kept all your rereads.
No, so there was a time where I was like I was big on that book before it was anything. Like I bought those books when you could have picked up those books. I think I picked one up $30.
Okay.
right? So like I was picking that up when it was like just nothing, and people were like, "What are you doing?" So it is what it is. I just really think that a lot of people should be looking at that tech stuff and the characters that they are signing to extensions for movies and shows and things like that. Because on that Iron Man side, all those characters are in play. So help him. Hey, what's going on, Dry Nations?
And the thing is, when you look about it, when you think about it this way, the way the MCU is kind of putting their chess pieces, it's almost like they're looking at spiritual successors of original characters. Like you have Falcon and Winter Soldier is almost a spiritual successor to Steve Rogers. Jane Foster is almost going to be like the successor to Thor. And from the looks, I mean, it's not confirmed, but it's almost like Shuri's almost going to be that successor to T'Challa. So it would make sense that Riri would be, that next step to Tony Stark.
Yeah. Coco had said, can we name one female lead that really held her own on the big screen besides Wonder Woman? And a few people saying Black Widow. I was going to say Scarlet Witch, but I want to say once we find out what that WandaVision show is going to be like, I think we might get a better idea. The girl that's playing Yolanda, I think that's going to be huge. I just posted that from Nerd Hub.
Wait, who's Yolanda?
Yolanda is the second Black Widow. She's going to be in that Black Widow movie. And we just posted something earlier today that she is rumored to be in that Hawkeye series. So she is going to be around for a long time. So if you do have that Inhumans #5 book, I'd probably hold on to it right now.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Wait, you're talking about Yelena.
Yeah. I say Yolanda.
Yeah, I was like, who's Yolanda?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, Yelena Belova. Okay, yeah.
Brooke, do you have that book? I can't remember if you do or not.
What book?
Inhumans 5?
No.
Yeah, I got that book. I got the whole set.
No.
Yeah.
I don't own a single Inhumans book.
Yeah, me neither. Inhuman, Flash.
Inhumans, Iron Man.
Oh my! Well, that will change, my friend.
Don't own a single Iron Man book. I used to own Invincible Iron Man #1. Used to.
Wait, for which series?
I don't know. The one where he's like flying above the buildings or something. It's a newer series.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's.
Azores mentioned Columbiana. Is that? I know I heard of that movie, but is that from a comic series or is that an original character? Columbiana. It's the one with Zoe Saldana. That
I don't know.
I've seen that movie. I mean, bits of it, but I'm not sure if that's actually a comic character. That I'm curious.
I think Evan or somebody actually messaged me this a few streams ago, and
okay.
I don't know. They could because Arno is like the robotic one.
Isn't that Tony's brother? That's Tony's brother, right?
Yeah. I did find his first appearance actually in a back bin, and the guy wanted like $2, and I remember being like, $2? And I try to be like, man, I only have a loony on me, and he was like, nah, it's $2. So I was like, all right, whatever. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you could still find this book. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if you pick this book up. It could. I just think you're going to be waiting on it for a while.
Yeah.
I want the Fantastic Four 45.
I mean, we know what happened with the Inhumans. I think it's going to be a while before we see another Inhumans movie.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
But history shows us you buy when it's low.
Of course. It's actually the best time to probably.
Yeah, this book is probably the best time to buy. And I know if you guys go and check eBay right now, you might be like, are you guys crazy? Like, there's still prices in that 200 range. Yeah, but if you look at where that book was when the show was about to come out, a 4.5 now is about 220. When the show came out, it was about 450, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. So if there's ever, me personally, I think Black Bolt will show up. So
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Book spiking. I don't know.
Yep.
All right, Burke, what do you got for us? Oh no, Hyper, right?
No, I think it's Burke.
Burke?
Because you just went, right? You just said Riri.
Yeah, I said Riri. Yeah. So Burke, give us a character.
I got a couple. I'm trying to decide which one I want to do. Do I want to go DC or Marvel? Which one? You tell me.
Or DC, because I want to learn more.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. All right. I got one right here. So this character is
You came prepared.
her first appearance in a show, but I think this character could shine on the big screen because it's part of like a team, and she is the most relatable of all of the ones.
Ooh.
And I think she's going to do well. I think she's going to do well enough in a TV show that she's definitely going to be someone that it might be 5 years down the road or longer, but in a movie, I think she'd do well. Jessica Cruz, man.
That's been a pretty hot book lately. Yeah.
9/8. Wow.
Yeah. Signed by the same guy, the artist Doug Mankey.
Doug Mankey.
Like she's going to make her appearance in that Green Lantern HBO Max show, you know, and her being a female character, Hispanic, that she's a lot like Spider-Gwen, I feel like, and Miles Morales, where she's a relatable character. Everyone likes her, and she's like the only female Green Lantern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's a good way to bring in another crowd of fans. And I think she's going to do well in TV show. And I think if they do a Green Lantern core movie, she could definitely show up in maybe the first or second movie.
There was rumblings of that, right, Burke? I mean, I think you might have the lead in that because you follow DC closer than I do. But I think even I heard that they were going to be doing something with Green Lanterns, right?
They were supposed to do Green Lantern multiple times, and they're always, since it's so many people play Green Lantern, they were going to do a Green Lantern core movie where they were going to focus on Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and then later in the movie bring in some of the other characters to lead into the second movie.
Yeah, because I remember, if I'm mistaken, in August, what was it? There was that one character. It's a white cover. What was it?
Kilowog?
Kilowog, yeah.
Yeah.
That one became super hot, sought after book. It spiked because people were like, "Oh, well, if they show up."
Kilowog is going to be in the HBO Max series.
Yeah. I didn't really do my research on Green Lantern to see like the keys and the characters because, to be honest, like I don't know too much about those side, enemies outside of like the main ones that we've already seen in that movie. I don't know much.
I mean, there's like 5 or 6 Green Lanterns, and then there's Sinestro too. But I mean, Sinestro and Hal Jordan are the two most expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. Because you mentioned actually that you weren't sure which keys are the Green Lantern books and all that. I'm kind of in the same boat, but the channel I'm going to give props to is Simpleman Comics, where they were doing a segment called Top 10 Back Issues to Look Out For.
That's where I was going to say. Yeah, that's where they were talking about that Kilrog one.
Exactly. So
great people, sure.
Yeah. So I actually they mentioned in that, I don't know which episode, but they mentioned the Kilowog book, and I hit up my LCS and actually found one at cover price in the back issue.
Wow.
During the COVID period. So
Mark, if you get a chance, like talk to the Hyperman, like some of the stories he has about like some books.
I'm gonna text
cover price is ridiculous.
I'm gonna text Brian from Simple Man's right now and tell him because
I think I actually showed Jack and Brian my pickup after that that day because I wanted to give them credit for giving the info and the spec.
Nice.
Yeah, they know their shit, man. I love watching Brian's stuff. Me and Brian go, back to back with. He's a Florida State fan. I'm a Gators fan, so we always kind of, have that playful trash.
Trask is doing it big, man. He is doing it big.
I got a good chance here, and my girlfriend is an Alabama fan, so there's a possibility Alabama meets Florida, so I'm pretty pumped. So
nice.
Green Lantern though. I mean, I mean, I know a lot of people know about Showcase 22. That's a $5,000 book.
Oh yeah.
You know, the big keys I think for Green Lantern are super expensive, which is scary because they don't have a successful foundation. So just imagine when it comes out, if they were to be successful with Guardians of the Galaxy, Green Lantern, imagine how much that book is going to be.
Yeah, so I got this book for $10. I got this book
How
for
much?
$10.
$10.
$10.
$10.
$10.
How recent? How recent though?
Signed and graded, and now it's like $150 book.
So, okay, hold on. What Green Lantern has too much controversy within the original character.
Okay, so Alan Scott is a homosexual. This is true. The original one, he was in the Justice Society. Now, Hal Jordan is considered the true Green Lantern because he's like the one who knows who's a part of the Justice League and all of that. He is he makes his first appearance in the Silver Age. So he's considered like the true Green Lantern, though there was a character before him that is a homosexual named Alan Scott. But yeah, there's a lot of Green Lanterns. Alan Scott, Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, Simon
Gardner, yeah.
And what's that?
No, I was gonna say Guy Gardner, yeah,
and Jessica Cruz. I mean, there's a ton, you know. So and there's Sinestro too, and Kilowog, and
yeah. I think we can all agree. I know. I think I've spoken to Hyper about this. We don't really talk about Green Lantern up here in Canada because I mean it was just a terrible movie.
Ron is a Canadian.
Yeah, so we don't really talk about the Green. I mean, I don't think a lot of people talk.
I don't think it's a terrible movie. I know that's a hot take. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I think he's not a bad cast either because Hal Jordan is kind of, you know, that he's a goofy like bad boy who makes stupid jokes, and that's Ryan Reynolds, you know. But I do agree it's not the best movie.
No, the representation of the movie, yeah. And I think, I mean, obviously like even the X-Men movies, right? Like if you watch them now, they're terrible.
So yeah, okay, so everyone talks about how the DCEU sucks and there's a lot of bad DC movies, which I don't disagree with. There are a lot of bad DC movies. But let's not forget how many bad X-Men movies were made. Let's not forget how bad a certain character's second and third movie was.
I was just going to say, I'm like, say it, man. I know exactly where you're going with this. I think it's funny that you say that because I actually think I said that one of Hyper's actual first shows, I think it was like his first or second show. And I had made the comment, like I always do, about Captain Marvel. It's still the only Marvel movie I've only seen once.
It's terrible.
Right? And I said, I'm like, you know, it is up there with Iron Man 3. And I think Hyper on his first or second show was like, well, you know, like it wasn't terrible. And I was like, Hyper.
It seems like it came at the wrong time, though.
I was like, if you're trying to get on my good side, man, it's okay. You don't have to agree with it. But
it's horrible.
It's the funny that he said. He's like, well, you know, actually, it was okay. And I was like,
Green Lantern is better than that movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think and I think it was said in the chat, the CGI at the time. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Green Lantern came out in 2009.
11? I think it was
it came out in 2011.
11? Okay. So even then, I mean, we're talking about 9 years ago. It's not. But again, like, I'm sure if we look at the end game 10 years from now, we'll probably be like, I mean, like, look, you could tell it was made 10 years ago, right?
I cannot watch any of those old Star Wars movies, the originals. It's so bad.
Listen. I'm gonna say something that, and actually, I'm glad that Hoodrat's here because I actually agree with him on this one. I don't hate I don't hate the Green Lantern movie as much as some people do. I think maybe I don't take my movies as seriously as some. I kind of like the ones that are basically that are deemed like the crappy, you know, Rotten Tomato-ish kind of movies. I kind of look at them as my guilty popcorn movies that I'd probably play in the background while I'm doing laundry or something. Like, like there are certain movies that you kind of relegate to those things that you kind of, when you're having a bad day at work, you want to watch something that's stupid and mindless. And sometimes movies like Green Lantern do it for you.
You know, I want to say this right now because I think when we do talk about like horrible, terrible movies, I don't think that we ever bring these up. And I think Keys has said it once. I think I've said it once. But those Thor movies aren't as good as everybody thinks. Like the first two, they're not that good. Like
even number one you didn't like?
Thor 2 is awful.
Yeah, Thor 2 was awful. Even Thor 1, I mean, the Destroyer is like the big enemy. He's on Earth. Like
the only good thing about the movie is it like brought together a bunch of characters. It brought in Hawkeye and it brought in Jane Foster and all
that. It's like, oh my god, like this
is just a tie-in movie.
I don't know. I kind of like Thor 1 just because the way they played Loki's origin and all that with the Frost Giants.
Loki's a bad dude. Loki's a bad dude.
Man, I even like the last X-Men movie.
Are you talking about the Phoenix one?
I haven't even seen that one yet.
I have a confession. I haven't seen the Phoenix one either.
I haven't seen that one. The last ones I haven't seen New Mutants and that Phoenix one I have not seen.
I
think the reason with that last Phoenix one was before I was about to go see that movie, that's when it became official that Disney had bought the rights. So basically I looked at it as like, okay, well, none of these characters in that storyline is going to matter once they do a new one. So why am I going to waste my money? And that's just how I've been since. And yeah. So until it gets to like Netflix or like Amazon Prime, I'm probably not going to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can see that logic.
Okay, the Mandarin is a cool character, but the way they played him in the third movie is awful.
Well, I think, and I think everyone will agree that was like the biggest troll move on Marvel's part before that and Hydra Man and Molten Man.
Yes.
I will say, okay, talking with other Iron Man people, and this might surprise you, but I think that the Mandarin shows up in Shang-Chi actually. I think
so. Yeah. I mean, I've heard him and I've heard the other guy, Fing Fang Foom.
Yeah.
The dragon. I've heard some of those other characters would pop up in the Shang-Chi movie.
But I also start looking at like sale records of like certain books, and that Tales of Suspense with Mandarin has gone up a little bit, and people are kind of sleeping on it. So it just leads me to think that there is some traction on it. We might see him. Somebody had made the rumor of the Mandarin being this 10-ringed. There's like a line where it's like the Mandarin is a 10-ring something, and then somebody had paired it up with something that might come out in Shang-Chi.
Isn't that a storyline in Invincible Iron Man, the 10 rings or something?
Yeah. So somebody had kind of paired both of those up and said, okay, maybe we're going to see him there. But yeah, it was the worst troll move ever that Marvel could have done with that storyline, 100%.
Especially when people were really looking forward to it based on the trailers and everything else.
Don't watch X-Men. Oh my god.
See, the thing is, I'm one of those people that when someone tells me not to watch it now, I'm actually more curious, and I probably will watch it just because now I need to know, is it really as bad as some people are saying?
So too. I've not seen it. I also want to know, is it really that bad? I've heard from everyone that it's awful.
I heard a lot of people saying that like you could tell. I think Keys, one of his reasons was you could tell that it was made 5 years ago, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Like, you mean the budget?
The budget, the way they did the characters, whatever CGI they might have used, like that was one of the big things that I had read and that I was hearing from people is that you could tell that it was dated. So,
shout out to Pressable Defects showing up in the chat.
Oh shit, yeah.
What's up, Pressable Defects? That's one of Gary's guys.
It has nothing like the source material.
Southern Comic Geek is one of the biggest X-Men people out there. He knows his stuff. Have you ever seen his collection?
Who's that? Sorry?
Southern Comic Geek.
Southern Comic Geek. He has an insane collection of X-Men books. I mean, I'm talking GSX-1. I'm talking First Phoenix. I'm talking any X-Men key.
He's got.
I think I don't think he has an X-Men 1, but anything else he has. So he knows his stuff.
You know what? And that's kind of crazy because I always look at the people that have Amazing Spider-Man, Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, because all of those are so like there's so many characters, right? Like unfortunately for me in Iron Man, I mean Hyper, we talked about it yesterday. There's only a handful of books in Iron Man. You know,
Well,
where other
as
ones,
a collector, that's great for you though, because you know you're picking a series that basically not a lot of people are, unfortunately are really into. Sorry, man.
I hope I catch that one day. You know what I mean? Like I turned 80, I'm about to sell all my books, and then you know someone's like Iron Man's hot. It's like, oh, okay, shit.
Yeah, man. All it takes is one Twitter news, you know, and all that. Look, maybe if Donny Cates takes on Iron Man, you never know where your Iron Man books start popping off.
Yeah, 100%. Switching gears, it's my go. I think I talked about this like a few weeks ago because Moon Knight is super hot right now. I really do think that people should be looking into a lot of the characters and things like that, simply because Moon Knight will be a series, right? It's probably going to be an hour long. It's probably going to, you know, we'll see where the first season goes, but I think that each episode will be an introduction to a new character. Some of the characters, you know, you have a stained glass window, you have Black Spectre. Something that you could see, especially on the spec side of things, is Randall Spectre, who actually becomes Shadow Knight. I believe there's 2 books, like where he first shows up as Randall, and then where he first obviously shows up as Shadow Knight. But obviously these characters will probably gain some traction because they'll be in the series long. And then, you know, I'm personally under the assumption that once Moon Knight is very popular, he's going straight to movie. Like as soon as that series is done, I think it's going to movie. I don't think there's going to be a season 2, season 3. I think it's going to be one season.
So it's almost like that show is like an intro to his theatrical debut kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot of money to be made in that Moon Knight stuff.
I'm not gonna front. I don't really know much about Moon Knight, so I'm basically getting knowledge from you in this.
He's like Marvel's Batman, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been told. And I mean, I know he has a whole schizophrenic personality to him and all that. And but as far as a character goes, I don't really read up much on Moon Knight, so I can't even pretend like I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, Burke will probably get a kick out of this because, you know, being the DC guy, you know, Moon Knight is basically like Batman. He's got obviously multiple personalities, and I think that each episode will show you a different personality. You're gonna see that's the thing. Like I think that in that series, that's perfect for a series that you're gonna be able to see a lot of first appearances and things like that. So you might see the market for Moon Knight kind of go like this. I will say this: if you're hunting for Moon Knight, I probably wouldn't pick up Marvel Spotlight 28. I'd probably stick to that Moon Knight #1 book. Probably in a 9.6. If you're going to get it under 9.6 and you're looking for a flip, I probably wouldn't get it. 9.6, 9.8 is probably where you want to be on that book. But I really think that is a book. It's $200 right now, 9.6 Canadian. You could make – there's a lot of room for that book to grow. So
Pressable Defects is saying to get 1 to 14.
Yeah, I think Stained Glass Window is 14. She's heavily rumored to be one of the main villains. 25, I believe, is Black Spectre. That's another one.
Wait, hold up. Villains. Is a character named Stained Glass Window or Stained Glass Mary?
Stained Glass something. What is it? Burke, do you know? I mean, I know it's Marvel.
What's the question? I'm sorry. My buddy Adrian just popped in the chat. I'm saying hi.
Stained Glass.
Stained Glass. Is she called Stained Glass Mary or Stained Glass Window?
I have no idea.
Okay, hold. I figured with it being Marvel, he might be like.
Chat. Give us a bit of a consensus. Is it Stained Glass Mary or Stained Glass Window?
Glass Scarlet.
Stained Glass Scarlet. Okay, so we're both wrong.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
So we were both off base. Although you kind of went the more logical route and you picked Window.
Yeah. So I know. I'm pretty sure that one and Black Spectre are the two to get for sure. But I think Black Spectre is 25, issue 25. So, all right, Hyper, what do you got for us, brother?
All right. Well, we know that it's pretty much been said that the second Doctor Strange movie is going to take more of a horror route in terms of its direction. So when we're thinking horror, I'm thinking, okay, so now Marvel's probably going to be looking into those NetherRealm characters that they haven't really tapped into, because we know they've done cosmic, they've done street level characters, but in terms of actual underworld characters, you got to look at the big baddies like Mephisto and Blackheart.
Yeah.
Those characters, as you know, appeared in that critically acclaimed Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movie. Not the best portrayal of either of those characters. That's why I think even though those characters were done, they still have a chance to do right by them. And when you actually look into them, they're actually pretty cool characters. I mean, Mephisto is a pretty expensive book at this point because his first appearance is Silver Surfer #3, and that's like a square-bound book. And I think a high grade for that is gonna net you at least $4 or $5 grand US probably. Blackheart though is an undervalued book because his first appearance he comes in the Daredevil series, and I actually picked up his first appearance for like $10-15, and I think Mephisto will come just because he has a lot of ties with the other characters. Like he has ties with Silver Surfer and with Doctor Strange and all that. So I think it's only a matter of time when they start bringing in these other worldly characters, you could say, into the MCU. So with Mephisto comes Blackheart, and with that, I wouldn't be surprised if you also start seeing the Ghost Riders come. Now, I'm not sure if because there's so many Ghost Riders at this point. The three popular ones are Johnny Blaze, Danny Ketch, and Robbie Reyes. Who was the character that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Because I kind of fell off that series. I know there was a Ghost Rider in that.
Yeah, there was a Ghost Rider. Oh, if Keys was not sleeping and up, he is big on this Ghost Rider because every time we go to a shop, he actually picks it up. And I'm trying to think of the book, but
I don't think it's Robbie Reyes because Robbie Reyes has the car, right?
So yeah, I think it's the other guy. That's the second one. He's pretty.
Danny Ketch.
Yeah, he's very heavy on that character.
Oh no! Actually, Azora said it was Robbie Reyes that was in S.H.I.E.L.D.
In S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
Okay, so I stand corrected. Okay, so Robbie Reyes.
Hey, and don't forget Frank Castle.
You mean Cosmic Ghost Rider?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? As much as I like that character, I really don't know.
It'll never show.
I really don't know what I don't know what Cates was smoking when he thought of that character. Just because that whole thing was, first of all, a complete cluster because you had a Punisher ongoing series happening in parallel with Cosmic Ghost Rider. So it's like you have Frank Castle and another Frank Castle. So it's almost like
we got a Peter Porker in a movie though.
Yeah, but that was almost as a comedic relief at that point.
Yeah.
What's the Venom version for like the pig one? What is it?
There's a pig Venom?
Yeah, there's pig Venom.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Oh man, I remember we were talking about it with Mel V and all those guys and
Azurus. I was just kidding about Cosmic Ghost Rider. I don't think we were really serious.
No.
Don't sleep on Memphis and Doctor Doom connection. I think it okay, everybody has a different meaning of affordable or expensive. I mean, obviously, if you look at the first appearance of Doctor Doom, Fantastic Four #5, it's like a $5,000 to $8,000 book. So obviously, you gotta start looking at like the other avenues for Doctor Doom. I think we all can agree, right? I mean, I think it's a consensus. Doctor Doom will show up. I think they will do it very well, right? I mean, they can't fuck it up a third time, right?
Well, okay, you know what? As much as people crap on Fantastic Four, I don't want to keep going against the grain, but I didn't hate on Pork Rind. Okay, I didn't hate on.
That's what his name is. Yeah, that's the Venom one. That's what it is.
I never actually heard of that character until you just brought him up to me. But yeah, I never really hated on the character Doctor Doom, like the actor that portrayed him. he could be done better for sure, but it's not like the guy that played him did a terrible job either.
No.
No, I think it's all storyline. Okay, so which story are you going for? Like, are you going for like the Jessica Alba one, or are you going for the second one, like the 2015 one?
The one where Silver Surfer came in. You mean? Oh no! You mean the new one? You mean with Michael B. Jordan? I didn't actually. Okay, you know what?
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that one. I only saw the original Fox ones.
Me too.
I mean, okay, I'm not surprised that like that wow is actually wrong. I shouldn't have said it like that. Like because it was
awful.
Yeah, it was like if you think Iron Man 3 is bad, that is like Iron Man 3 on drugs. Okay?
But the thing is, and I've told you this before, some people actually don't hate Iron Man 3. But again, I think you're coming at it from a different space because you're also a diehard Iron Man fan. But I've heard some people that actually liked Iron Man 3. As a movie, I mean. Like, put it this way, as an action movie, they thought it was good. As a comic book movie, maybe not so much.
And there's people out there that think Captain Marvel was good. And there's people out there that think, what else? What is another terrible movie that was good?
The Connection is Dr. Doom's mother.
Was good. You know, like there's still people out there that think that was good. So, you know, just depends on what tea you're drinking, what day, I guess.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Did you say Justice League? Because I actually like Justice League.
I didn't mind Justice League. The one that I like is Suicide Squad. That's the one that's kind of like.
I like Suicide Squad too, though.
I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with the new one.
James Gunn.
Burke, and I don't know if we've ever had this conversation since that announcement's been, but with Suicide Squad 2 coming out, I think the only problem that they're going to have is too many characters.
Well,
I don't realize they're ready for it. I think they saw the success that Marvel had, where they said, okay, Marvel did it. You know, they had a lot of characters and they could do it. I don't know how it's going to, you know, translate into that DC world where they're doing multiple characters, you know, more than 5. So it's going to be interesting.
But you got to remember, a lot of those characters are most likely cast to be killed off in that movie.
True.
Yeah.
Because that is the name of the movie. And a lot of those C, Z level characters, they're not meant to have like prominent roles because you only have so much airtime. And I agree. When that roll call came in that first trailer, I was like, wow, okay, that's a pretty loaded cast. But then you got to think, some of those guys are there just to kind of be fed off in the first 10, 20 minutes.
Okay, sorry. Just because I just realized, like, I bring this comment into play, and then I bring this comment into play, and then I know Joel Walters asked, there was a challenge, and I picked up on it, so I apologize, Joel, for not bringing it up. But Joel had asked if there was any indie cover or any indie character outside of
Spawn. I think he said Spawn.
Spawn that
was my next one. I'm ready.
Because I have an indie one too myself, actually. So
okay, well since I already went, one of you can go.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, man.
Okay. So this character, I don't think it would be in a movie, at least for a long time, like 8 years probably. I think this character could do better in an animated show.
Okay.
And when I think animated, I think the reason why is because of how new the character is, and also the fact that like the people that are fans of this team are mostly boys. But whenever I ask my daughter, I'm like, which one is your favorite? She says the girl one, and I'm like, well, there's really not a girl.
The Power Rangers?
First appearance of Jenica. Team 51, first appearance of Jenica, the girl turtle. Now, I do have her first appearance as a turtle right there, too, in a 9/8. But I feel like that she would do well in an animated show. Like, she was in the live action. Oh, sorry. There was a female turtle in the live action show in the 90s.
That was Venus.
Venus de Milo. That was not received well. But I feel like as an animated show, it could do better with a younger audience because those younger kids, they like that cheesy stuff. And I think that would bring in the girls more. And honestly, if it does well, maybe a movie, probably not. But there's your indie character. I feel like that she would. I feel like a girl turtle would do well.
I
Like,
think
Well,
especially
I
in the
mean,
animated show.
Burke, you probably are aware of this, that Seth Rogen is apparently on board to actually shoot. I don't know, was it a movie or a TV show that he's on board for?
It was supposed to be a movie, and it was supposed to be live action. Now I don't know if that's CGI, but in my opinion, the movies were better when they had like the whole Jim Henson.
I like those movies, yeah.
Like,
But
those
then again,
better.
for me, it was also more of a nostalgia sense because I saw the first one in theaters when I was a kid.
Okay. I think the original Turtles movies, like the original TMNT first movie, 30 years later still holds up in my opinion.
Yeah. And
I think your indie one is more
mainstream
than
Yeah.
mine. I think mine is gonna. I think it'll shock a few people actually.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think an indie cover or an indie character, and it was only because and my brain just clicked, and I should have clicked because I just actually got a shipment back from CGC. But I think a lot of people might be interested to kind of jump on board with Tank Girl.
Tank
Girl.
Who?
Maggie Roby.
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. Sorry. Margot Robbie. She actually picked up the rights to it, so I don't know if she's going to be directing it or just executive producing it. But it is one of those cult classics. A lot of people collect it. There are a lot of. The problem is when you collect a lot of those books, the citation on the CGC doesn't actually tell you, hey, this is the first appearance of this or second appearance or things like that. So there are a few issues that you kind of need to know what to grab. But one, they're super cheap. Two, you can get them in very high grade. And three, if you're ahead of the curve, like I am right now, picking them up, then you might have something when it comes because it's a cult classic. Like how you have these niche markets for like Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Spawn, dare I say dupe, like you do have that Tank Girl. The first.
Did you just say dupe?
Yeah, I had to throw it in there. I had to throw it in there. But I do think a lot of people are sleeping on it, and trust me, guys. I know a coworker of mine. She picks up Tank Girl. She actually got me on it, and I started doing some research. And the fact, I start looking at other factors. Like, it's a mainstream actress that picked it up. What is she doing right now? She's doing Harley Quinn, big role. I think that's coming full circle. I think that's going to be done soon. Her eyes and her work is going to be on Tank Girl. I don't think they'll mess it up, so that could be something for sure. Oh, Madonna! Yeah, was Madonna the one that played it? I can't remember.
Really?
I can't remember. But yeah, there's a lot of books in the Tank Girl series that you should be on the lookout for. I do have a video coming out. It's a CGC return, but I do have some Tank Girl in it.
Nice.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that because, again, I kind of preach what I preach is what I buy. So
yeah, for sure, man. And it's too bad that Keys isn't in the chat because Azores is giving some love to one of his favorite characters.
Man, Key says that about like some of the characters that he came out with, and then out of nowhere, like it was just like the perfect timing because like he started talking about Dupe, and then what does James Gunn say like 3-4 days later? Oh yeah, if I had to do a movie, I would put Dupe in it, and it's just like, God damn it.
Wait, don't tell me. Did that book actually start heating up again?
For a little bit, yeah. He's found. We found one. I think he has 2 copies, but we found a few copies at our local shop. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so Joel, there you go. So you've got Spawn, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tank Girl, Hyper. Do you have another indie title?
You know what, I'm just gonna throw one out there. I don't really have much of a discussion on it, but just since you guys picked 2, I'll pick one. Exo Manowar.
Yeah.
There's my indie, and I only picked that because there was at one point rumor that John Cena was going to be doing Exo Manowar. I'm not sure how strong of a spec or news that is, but at one point I know Exo Manowar was a bit of a the talk in the press. Not so much now, but again, it's just one of those books. The number one is pretty affordable to still grab.
I will say, just going back, because I see like a lot of people are still commenting on the Tank Girl. Tank Girl 1, like the original one, is like a $1,500 book. So be careful, but there are different things that you can make some shiny coins on. So just be careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
Going to a comment here, Berg. I don't know how deep you are into your indies, but I have a lot of people actually messaging me about this. There's
Philadelphia. I feel like Philadelphia. Something is killing the children, and I put it in there. Firepower. I feel like right now,
yeah.
those are 3 of the top ones.
Department of Truth. I think it might be too early, but that's another one I would probably throw in there.
What'd you say?
The Department of Truth.
Department of Truth is another one. Yeah. I mean, we're only 3 issues in, but
but I agree with you. That Firepower one. I think a lot of people. If you're not jumping on it right now, I think Hyper or FaceTime last week mentioned you can still pick up that number 1 issue. I would be jumping on that.
It's like Iron Fist, but more fun.
Yeah.
And don't forget, I think Kirkman has a first look deal, I think, with Amazon, I believe. One of the big streaming services.
I put in a chat here, but a lot of the Boom Studios sold their rights for their comic books to Netflix if they ever want to make any shows.
Right.
Something is Killing the Children, 7 Secrets,
Once in Future,
show, something like that. I think those are something you could look out for as well.
Yeah, and Once in Future is actually another good pick that Hoodrat mentioned.
Future. This is a couple years old, but God Country. You guys ever read God Country?
Donny Cates.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so good.
This one is actually one that I was very heavy on, Year Zero. The only reason being zombies is something that, I mean,
it's been played out a lot.
Zombies and vampires, people still buy. I mean, it's 2020, we're going to be 21, and people are still on that. So I don't know. I think it could be something. It's died down, especially on the book side. In the middle of the summer, I think if you had cover A and cover B, that variant, you can get about $80 to $100 for it.
I was really surprised how high that issue 1 took off for a studio that just came out this year.
Yeah, I sold the cover A and cover B. I had 2 sets. I still have the 1 set. It's still on my eBay, but the 1 set I sold in July for $89 Canadian. Both books.
Damn.
Yeah, and I bought both books cover price, like the day they came out.
And it's been less than a year since that issue came out, right?
Yeah, I think it came out in May.
Yeah, because AWA as a studio itself, I think they're not even a year old. I think, or maybe they're just over a year old.
Yeah, I don't think it's out a year yet.
Because their first series was The Resistance. I remember picking that up.
But yeah, so hey, I just wanted to point out that Joel, there you go. You have, I think we named 4, and then the chat said Once in the Future. What's another one? God Country, things like that. So yeah, there's
so many.
Yeah. I want to get your takes on this. Agents of Atlas.
Yeah, I think it's
because that's
I think it's coming. It's definitely has its ebbs and flows, but I think especially with Shang-Chi coming to the MCU, because it's all, the way I look at it is all about entry points. How our character is going to be introduced, like which characters would be a gateway to other characters, and I find that Shang-Chi is a gateway to other characters to come into the MCU, like the Agents of Atlas, like Mandarin and Fin Fang Foom. But yeah, as a team, I think they are coming. Now, I don't think they're going to be introduced as a team immediately. I think it's going to probably play out like the Avengers, I find, where they're going to probably sprinkle in a character here and there, just so that the audience starts to at least have somewhat of what do you call it, like relate to the characters before they actually mash them up. And I think that was the issue with Justice League, right? You kind of mashed all these characters up without really giving us an insight into to them individually. Whereas if you look at the Avengers, the first Avengers movie came out in 2012. Iron Man 1 came out in 2008.
7.
7? Okay. Of course, you know that.
Come on.
So yeah, I mean, in between that time, they planted little Easter eggs and breadcrumbs, where they kind of gave us snippets into each of the characters in the Avengers before they actually created that ensemble, so that when they did come together, you were already invested in those characters.
Yeah.
So I think that's how Agents of Atlas would probably play out. You're not going to see the team entirely. I think it's going to be rolled out.
I'm holding on to it because I picked up a few months ago. I picked up first appearance of it, Agents of Atlas #1. I've got the variant. I think I have the one in 10, but I might have the one in 25 as well.
Nice.
So, and I picked them up at cover price. So they've been in my or they've been in my PC rather. So yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things that you hear them, oh, it could be something, and then it's like the next day it's like, no, nothing.
I have something better.
Whoa. Okay.
Strange Academy #1.
Yeah, that's.
That I feel like could possibly be a Doctor Strange 3 movie or just his own movie after the trilogy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Honestly, that book has too much hype, too many new characters to not be something to spec on to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all those characters, it could be like an Umbrella Academy. Honestly, that's what it reminds me of.
That's kind of where my mindset went. Yeah, I can see it being something really popular, not lining up or matching with MCU, but being something outside of it, like
Sure.
Academy and things like that. Yeah, 100%, man.
But you guys are leaning more towards it being a movie or a TV show, though.
I think it could be more of a TV show now.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking also, yeah.
Just because there's too much going on and too many characters that it would just make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
The studios have to make more money, so what's a better way to do it, right?
I just feel like it's a safer play than Agents of Atlas, in my opinion.
Well, okay, because either book, I find that when you think about it, there's multiple first appearances in both books. So even if, like I said, even if the teams themselves don't debut, you're kind of almost like hedging your bets when you have, like, let's say 5 or 6 characters in one book.
I'll be right back.
Yep. So there's got to be at least 1 or 2 of those characters that do pop into the MCU, be it Strange Academy or Agents of Atlas, I find.
Yeah, that's true. Raider Bear says, to be honest, anything that Marvel Comics has can be a movie or TV show. You should spec on anything and all Marvel.
I don't know if he's being sarcastic or if he's...
I mean, honestly, okay, so I was talking to Jack about this, and he did a video on it too. Like, the first appearance of the Teen Titans, like, even though there's a Teen Titans show, like, it's not a book that's super expensive, and it honestly should be. Like, the Teen Titans are like DC's X-Men. You know what I mean?
Wait, is it that issue called DC Presents or something?
That's the new Teen Titans.
Okay.
The original Teen Titans is a Brave and a Bold 54. I got one.
Okay.
But the Teen Titans, that's a huge team. You know what I mean? Like Wally West, Aqualad, Wonder Girl, Robin. I mean, the reason why I feel like a lot of DC books and that one too are not like spiking like Marvel is just because Marvel has already built up this massive movie and TV show company. Like, how many shows and movies have we spec'd on just tonight that only involve Marvel? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they've been doing, like, DC, you only think about Batman, Superman, Justice League, and Suicide Squad. Like, they haven't built up enough with the fans for people to be spec'ing on the Teen Titans as much as they have with Fantastic Four and X-Men. So
it's true, because even before coming on the show, I was trying to keep it a balanced pick in terms of DC, Marvel, Indies, and I'll be honest, I was having a struggle in terms of coming up with DC characters that I could, pick as characters that would be coming into TV or movies.
I think part of the problem is that they're going up against a giant and Marvel that's owned by Disney. You know what I mean? Disney's like, oh, you want to make a movie? Okay, here's $500 million. Go make your movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's tough for DC. They're owned by AT&T, who's DC and AT&T are having money issues, and I think that's why.
But the thing is,
I think also the character changes, right?
Yeah, they don't help.
You know, like how many Batmans have we seen in a short period of time? Like, I think if you would have had, I'm just thinking, okay, Captain America, Iron Man, just two that come off, you know, top of my head. Like, if we would have seen like 2 or 3 different characters play the role, I think it wouldn't have that same effect. I think that's what it has to do with as well, the storyline. I also think that maybe DC was rushed, right? Like they saw this.
Oh, for sure.
They saw the success that, you know, the Avengers were having, Marvel bringing in multiple characters. Like I remember myself, like when they announced Civil War, I was like, how are they going to do a movie where they have like 10 or 12 characters like fighting each other and like just the storyline, right? And they did a good job. So then, you know, what does DC do? They put together Justice League, and I just don't think it was a good representation, right?
They could have waited another 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I think it could have.
Having said that, DC's done some really good movies. Wonder Woman was fantastic. Shazam is probably my favorite DC movie.
I've watched that several times actually.
I think they have their equivalent to, and people might, you know, put me on blast here, but I think they found their equivalent to a Deadpool.
I was gonna say, I mean, obviously not the same mature level, but yeah, that whole comedy slapstick.
And I will say this, because Hyper, I think you've heard me say this, and I think a few people in the chat who know me, who follow me, know this, and I bring it up because my brother Hawaiian Punch has said it. But Burke, DC has some aces in their hole.
They have a lot.
You're talking about Poison Ivy, which I think once the cash cow of Harley Quinn is over, they'll bring her. They also have Mr. Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Like even
you didn't like Arnold Schwarzenegger,
but even how bad he played that role. Look at the book; it's an $1,800 book,
dude.
For sure, yeah.
Batman 121 is so expensive. People have no idea how expensive the first appearance of Mr. Freeze is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a perfect example, because people say, "Oh, well, if the characters played horribly, the comic goes down." All right, argue with me that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's why even years later, it's still a $1,500 to $1,800 book. There's no way.
I think certain books are Teflon in terms of. I'm not going to say that they're completely bulletproof, but there's certain books that they'll hold their value just because of where they're placed in history, right?
Yeah, I think this sums it up, to be honest with you. I think Southern really hit it on point.
I agree 100%. And we've all been saying that for the last several years.
Yeah. Because the thing is, they don't have, I mean, just the way that we've seen their movies come together, they don't have a clear blueprint on how they're going about it.
They're making individual movies, which is fine. Each one is great. Mm-hmm. But as a fan, we want them all to come together like the MCU does, so we can get more speculation like this.
And Burke, correct me if I'm wrong, because, again, I'm treading in waters I am unfamiliar with here. But DC came out and said they are kind of moving into individual. They don't want to do that team stuff anymore, correct?
Well, that's not 100% true, because they're doing exactly what I would do if I was a DCEU. They're basically going to relaunch the universe with the Flashpoint movie, which is the smartest possible way.
With Ezra Miller?
They are going to do it with Ezra Miller, but I'm saying they're doing it because they're going to be like, okay, we know we messed up. We're going to do the Flashpoint movie and say that the timeline has been reset so we can change out all these characters and actors that we want. And so we can bring them back together later in a future movie.
It's a convenient reset of the plot point. So
it's smart.
Good problem to have, I guess.
Yeah,
would be the best way to put it. Yeah.
And I enjoyed the Flashpoint miniseries. So
the Flashpoint miniseries is one of the best that there's ever been, and the animated movie is amazing too.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the animated movie. Burke, I don't think I've asked you since it's been not since it's been its spec, but since the trailers come out, since the information's come out, but the Snyder cut. Do you think that is going to make a huge difference for the DC franchise?
I do.
Yeah.
I think it's going to make a huge difference. Having said that, I am not a huge Zack Snyder fan because he tries to pile too much into one thing. Like if you looked at Batman vs Superman, like his cut was like 3 hours and 12 minutes, and it did fix a lot of the stuff that people were wondering about. But that movie's still too long, and they talked about the Snyder cut for Justice League being 6 hours long.
6 hours?
What? And they're going to make it into 6 1-hour episodes, possibly.
That's almost like the Titanic when it came out in 2 VHS tapes.
I mean, he's talked about how they're basically going to be doing Justice League 1 and 2 into one single cut.
Okay, so speaking of Titanic, I remember I was super young when that movie came out, but when that movie came out, they actually, from what I remember, people saying, because I know my aunt went to go see it, that at the 1 hour, 1.5 hour, because it's a 3-hour movie, at the 1.5 hour mark, they actually had like a break.
An intermission.
Yeah. Did they really?
Yeah, and they let you go. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, when you go to a Marvel movie, like I remember telling all my buddies who go, I'm like, all right, food, check. Bathroom, check. Okay, let's go. You know what I mean? Like I'm always asking my buddies, hey, did you go to the bathroom? Just one of those things that you ask. And then here you have like Titanic, which is almost 3.5 hour movie, and they had like an intermission for it. So
it's not actually it's not the first time they've done it. I know like certain Tarantino movies that go like 4 or 5 hours. I think the Grindhouse, Grindhouse and Planet Terror, when those movies were combined, they did have intermissions. So there are movies that when they go too long, they will let the fans out. And actually in Newbie, I gotta mention this to you. I don't know if you remember, but in Toronto, which is closer, I think, to you than it is to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Apparently they had a Batman marathon in theaters in anticipation for.
They did.
They did.
And my thing is, how the hell can you sit in a dark room for what is it, like eight hours?
Yeah.
By the time you go out to your car, you're gonna be discombobulated. You're gonna be tripping all over the place. It's like it almost feels like torture to be in a dark room and you're just watching a film for that long.
Was Braveheart that long too? I can't remember.
It was pretty long.
It is pretty long, but
I watch Braveheart, so I don't know. I can't.
I think it's almost in that 3.5 hour mark, right? 3 hour mark, I think.
I'm gonna look real quick.
There's some movies that you could probably go back and be like, okay, I can cut 5 minutes here, I can cut 10 minutes here. Like I noticed that in newer movies when I watch them, not that scene where it's like
2 hours 58 minutes.
Whoa.
Okay, so 3 hours. Yeah,
that's insane.
Jesus. And then Southern Fame Dances with the Wolves as well. Oh, I don't remember these movies being that long.
Yeah, because Dances with the Wolves I remember because that movie, this is before DVDs came out. You knew it was a long movie because it came out in 2 VHS tapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how the Titanic came out.
Yeah, Titanic.
To go back to your question, yes, I do think it'll make a major difference with DC fans. I do think it'll also help that they're going to HBO Max versus having their own DC Universe app, which a lot of people didn't like. Now you get all the HBO Max shows and all the DC stuff in one singular place. So
speaking of HBO Max, we don't get that in Canada.
Yeah.
So when Wonder Woman comes out on Christmas Day, you guys will all have that information. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm sure they're probably gonna come out with some way for the Canadians to see it.
There are ways. There are ways. But I mean,
I just think that's gonna push them to. I think that's gonna push Marvel now because DC is the first one to come out and say, "Hey, you know what? We're putting this movie out regardless." I think it puts some pressure on Marvel to bring out Black Widow.
Well, and they already put out some Disney movies on Disney Plus. They did that with Mulan. They did.
It was $30.
We paid it. We watched it in our living room.
Wasn't there a Pixar movie that came out also?
Trolls.
No, not Trolls. The Pixar movie on Disney Plus. The one where Tom Holland and Chris Pratt are.
What is the name of that movie? And yes, we bought that too for $30.
Wait, that was also $30 because I saw that free
It was
streaming on Disney Plus.
$30.
Okay,
I will pay.
Onwards.
I will pay for Black Widow. I just don't know if I'm paying for Wonder Woman. I really don't.
Oh, I'm totally paying for Wonder Woman. My wife will watch it with me, and my daughter will too, and it'll be awesome.
I'm kind of with Hood Rat, but I'm not gonna officially say it just because I don't want to put that on blast. I don't know this Cody you speak of, Hood Rat.
I've heard of it. I just don't know how good it is. Coco was saying Cody is the best one.
Again, I don't know what these nefarious devices you guys are using because
I've heard of it. Well, I will say, why don't we all just come up with one more character here for the future, and we can call it a show here. Hyper, why don't we start with you, brother? Because Bert just went. Let's just go with you.
Wait, do you mind if you go? Because I kind of need a minute.
Oh shit.
Okay, I'll go.
All right.
I'll go. We already talked about the character a little bit tonight. Punisher. I think that is a character that will show up in a movie going forward.
In a movie?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think
they've already done like what 3 of them already, right?
There was 2 seasons, and yeah, there was a couple movies as well. Yeah. And the reason why they took it off Netflix is because it was happening during all the gun violence stuff. But like that show was amazing.
Yeah, the show was.
Like, and there's so many movies that come out with a ton of gun violence in it. I feel like at some point Marvel's going to be like, okay, this is a really big character. This is a great actor, amazing actor.
Good tie-ins as well.
And they could tie in the show and try at least one movie. Yeah. I feel like Punisher is the guy.
And I really think that Deadpool, I really think Old Man Logan really helped shape. I mean, I think we'll probably see in Indy in future Marvel movies, but I think you can see what effect having the character look like what the character is supposed to look like, right? Because let's face it, if we got 18A PG-13 Deadpool, it wouldn't be as successful.
No.
Same with Old Man Logan. If he didn't, like the opening scene where he's like basically chopping in half those dudes, I think that's the problem that a lot of people are going to have with Carnage. The rating of the movie. Are we going to see the true cynical serial killer Carnage? Or are we just going to see this, PG rated Carnage?
Yeah,
you're right. If we were able to see a true version of Punisher, I think we got something there for sure.
Oh, dude, for sure. For sure.
What did you guys think of the movies that were done by Thomas Jane? Did you guys see those? The one with John Travolta as the main bad guy.
I didn't mind that one. I liked that one.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I mean, it was gritty. It was ultra violent, which I liked.
Yeah, I didn't like the second one. I didn't like.
No, I didn't like the sequels as much. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got a new Punisher for that one. I didn't like. Is that.
Punisher still on Netflix? Because if so, I feel like I want to go back and watch it. Because
I believe so.
I believe so.
I've seen it. Yeah, I think I've seen it. They just put a Spider-Verse out on it too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Because the other day, my girlfriend's like, "Do you want to watch this?" And I was like, "No, I'll watch this alone." Because like. I just want to go back and like pause on certain just to look at the background and some stuff.
Sure.
I don't know if anybody else does that, but like there's some movies where like I'll go back watching myself and like pause it every 5 minutes just to look at the background.
Looking for Easter eggs.
Yeah, just to see if I missed something.
That's a movie I kind of regret I didn't see in theaters, and I kind of wish I saw it in not just in theaters but in 3D, because that's a movie I feel that would look great in 3D.
So, off topic, real quick, they did that in the Christmas Chronicles 2. Like, have you guys seen that movie?
The Kurt Russell movie?
Yes.
I don't think I did.
I haven't seen it yet.
They have a movie theater in the movie, and they kept showing like what movie's playing, and they keep changing it to all the other Christmas movies that have come out. Like Elf and the Santa Claus and a whole bunch of other ones. So there were some Easter eggs in there.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm gonna switch total gears here from Punisher. My final character that I think we're going to go see, it is one of my favorite books. I picked it up. I still try to pick up the raw copy, even though it is pretty pricey. It's Franklin Richards.
I'm surprised you actually didn't say that earlier, because I know that you were really hard on that book.
Yeah, I'm very invested in that movie. I think come a Fantastic Four #2 movie. I don't think they're going to slow down on it. I think it's going to be a quick, hey, we're going to introduce this character, just because he's got that tie-in with Secret Wars, with Annihilus, with things like that. I think they're going to be looking at a future role with him as well. I think so. And when you're looking at the book aspect of it, like that's the first appearance of him and Annihilus.
Mhm.
So you got a win-win, 2 chances to hit if you're spending the money. You could probably find a good copy somewhere between the $200, $250 range, I think. They're all low grade. If you're looking at anything over 5.5, I think that's when you start getting into the $400 to $700 range. But anything under, I mean, I think you can double your money easily.
And it's that square bound book, right?
Yeah, it's one of those. It's a thick book. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are usually harder to get a higher grade in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Huge. I have mine's a 5.5, and I got a steal. Like I saw it and I was like, yeah, I'll buy it. Like I didn't even hesitate. It wasn't even like one of those things, when like you don't even want to haggle, like you don't want to say, like you don't even want to put like $10. You're just like, yeah, I'll pay it. Like I don't
Say
care.
no more. Say no more. Yeah, I've
That's
had
what I
those.
did with my ASM 252. It was 160 for a 9.4. I'm like,
Yeah, gone, done.
Wait, it was 160 like slab 9.4. That's actually not a bad deal, actually. Yeah,
I mean, plus tax, so it was ended up being like 175.
yeah, that's because
Yeah, that's pretty good.
people are still selling raw copies. I think in that same price range.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I'll pay that all day long.
Yeah.
All right, Hyper. Last character you see in our future. What is it?
Okay, well, I'm gonna say characters. The Young Avengers.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, more importantly, I think Kate Bishop. I think has been heavily rumored, and I think it's almost at this point, it's almost a given that Kate Bishop will be in the MCU, and we were talking about spiritual successors and all that, and I think Hawkeye would be. I don't know how that's gonna work though, because I know that he has a daughter that's supposed to be the next another character in the Young Avengers. I forgot the character's name.
Hulking, Iron
No,
Lad.
no. Hawkeye's daughter has another alias where she becomes a giant. Chat if you can help me out. But yeah, anyways, she's gonna be a character in Young Avengers. But Kate Bishop herself, we know that she will be coming into the MCU. So I would say she would be the perfect entry point for that team to come in to the fold. And with the Avengers more or less disbanding, like the original OG Avengers, I think that Marvel wants to now look into the future and look at more of a youthful approach. And like we were touching on before about how Marvel would probably want to make homegrown stars rather than paying, A-list actors. I think a series like The Young Avengers would be a show where you would get a lot of unknown actors and actresses that they could make into those household names.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Is it true?
Stature. That's the one. Stature.
Stature. Yeah. Is it true? Isn't Iron Lad supposed to be Kang as well? I thought that was like a thing. I thought that like.
Yes, it's supposed to be Kang, a younger
younger one, right?
A younger version of Kang. Yeah, it's one of that time travel trippiness of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue we're going to have in the Marvel Universe moving forward, because I've already said and speculated that we have not seen the end of Mysterio. I think Mysterio is still alive. I don't think he's dead. The problem that we're going to have moving forward with Marvel that DC's not going to have is, in Marvel, who's telling the truth? Like some character could come in and be like, hey, yeah, I'm from World 577. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, okay, well, I mean, it could be true. And then you don't know who's a Skrull. All that jazz. So
what if we get some stuff? We're gonna get something like that in the Flashpoint movie, though. All these Batmen from different worlds.
Yeah, that's true.
What if they're like, let's get all the Batman to help the Flash, and they pull up all these worlds, and we see the Batman who laughs.
I think that's too soon. I think
they're like, okay, no, we don't want that guy. Just for like a second. They're like, no, we don't want that Batman.
Oh,
you
almost like
that book, right? You've got that Teen Titans 12 book?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That book, yeah. I don't know. I could see that one coming in more of an animated series, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Than a live action. I think they'd have a tough time with a live action.
yeah, I think so too. It would be tough, but I feel like for one scene, it'd be
Just-
pretty cool.
just do
Oh,
it.
Easter egg.
It's almost like when what is it in the end of Dark Knight Returns when the guy with the last name Robin looks at
Oh,
cave.
Oh,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
yeah.
Yeah,
Robin.
Robin's my name.
What's her name? Robin. Yeah. There was a
like
little.
that little tease that they gave at the end.
Yeah, and I've been waiting almost 10 years for that to pan
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I couldn't have been.
Like, what do you mean? So I hope they use him in like future Robin stuff. To be honest with you, like that would be a good tie-in.
Yeah,
Because clearly there's not going to be another, Batman with him kind of thing. So like,
well, because the whole Nolan verse is pretty much self-contained. It's not supposed to be going into any other parts of the DCU.
As we're finishing here, I just want to highlight this because that is a bold statement.
Wow.
I mean, I can see it. I see it.
Burke, what do you have coming on your channel, man? The floor is yours for what is coming up on your channel, what you have to offer our beautiful chat here.
So I just hit 1,725 subscribers
Nice.
today. So pretty excited about that. If you're not already subbed to me, I would love it if you were. I do like daily uploads. I've kind of gone away from live streams, though I will be back with our Thursday night chat this week on Thursday. Tomorrow I'm going to have a podcast out. Thursday I'm going to have an upload in the middle of the day where I do my new comic book day haul. Because I can't go tomorrow, but I can go Thursday. Thursday night chat will be Thursday night. Friday I have a huge unboxing, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to do this weekend, but those are the videos for the next couple of days.
Sweet. Yeah, and chat, if you guys aren't subbed to Burke, he does put out stuff daily. He's probably one of the rare breed comic guys out there that actually puts out stuff every day. So
yeah, I've seen a couple of his new comic book day videos and all that. He puts out some good stuff for sure.
Thank you, Hyper. I appreciate that, man.
Definitely make sure you check it out. Hyper, what do you have coming up, sir?
All right. Well, I hit a milestone. As some of you know, I recently passed 1,000 followers on IG. So I'm also doing a giveaway as we speak. The contest runs till December 5th, so this Saturday. Just hit up my handle right there, hyper.combo.comics, and all the rules are there on my page. And the other thing is I'm actually going to be going on Team Nerd Herd's podcast, YouTube show this Thursday at, I believe, 7 p.m. Pacific, so 10 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to be doing a mail call show, mail call / books that you want to show off kind of show. So it'll be my first time going on that show, so definitely check me out there, Team Nerd Herd. And I'll also be on Spine Ticks this Saturday. I've been doing that show for the past few weeks, so we'll be on that show as well. And of course, Newbie's show. If I didn't completely botch this show, I'll be back on Newbie show next week as well.
Yeah, you're good.
So yeah, man. Love the community, love the chat, and just love interacting with you guys.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, definitely if you guys are new to my channel or it's the first time you guys are seeing Hyper Burke, please make sure you guys go sub him. As always, go sub everybody in the chat, help support the community, help make it grow. For me, I think I touched on it yesterday. I've got a giveaway I'm going to be announcing. I'm probably going to drop the video. I want to hopefully drop it later this week, if not at the beginning of the week. I got 2 videos coming. Like I said earlier, I do have that CGC submission coming back. And I do have some, I'm calling them shop hops. But it's funny because I'm like, oh man, I'm going shop hopping. And people are like, what?
Wait, Newbie, I want to ask you, how long did it take you to get your CGC submission? Because I also have one currently in.
So right now. I sent mine in August, and I just got it back last week.
Okay, so that's about, damn, that's actually 4 months almost.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. Wow.
So I do have a friend who works for FedEx here in Canada, and he said that they are 175,000 packages behind schedule.
Wow.
Wow. And I know FedEx is the only courier that does shipments into Canada from CGC.
Yeah, so keep that in mind when you're, if you're Canadian or things like that. I when he told me, I was like, whoa, because they are looking. I mean, if you're looking for work right now, I think FedEx would be a good place to start because they are hiring right now.
Any courier service at this point, I think, need all the help they can get.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
So and also saying that, I mean, we're officially in December. I mean, if you're sending any books to CGC right now, good luck to you. I think it's going to be a while before you get them because with the holidays coming and all the packages that are going, especially with the not being able to be with your family, a lot of people are going to be sending gifts off. So I think they're going to be behind for a bit. So
you know what? I'm okay with that because that just means CBC. That means CGC will just bill me after Christmas.
yeah,
So I'm good with that.
That's a good way to look at it. All right, so I really want to take a moment here to thank Hyper for joining me 2 days in a row. Really appreciate it. Burke, always a pleasure, my friend.
We'll do this again sometime.
Yeah, man, for sure, 100%. But I just want to thank you for joining. Really loved having you. Chat, as always, thank you for supporting. Thank you for coming in. And that's it for us, guys. So, yeah, make sure you guys go check out all of our stuff. And, yeah, see you later.
Peace.